The entire world's banking system and how governments do their business and the monies that you hold in your pockets is going to be reset. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, the reset button is imminent. I am not talking about years. It is only a few months away. Now, the experts or the insiders are no longer talking about the theory of whether that reset button is going to take place or not. What they are talking about is when and how that reset button is going to affect the economy. As you know, traditionally, every time somebody wanted to print a note of money, that money had to be backed by the same value of gold and silver, what is known as the gold standard, as well as known as the silver sterling, which is the city of London. Now, since then, in the early 1930s, right up to 1970, when the US was taken off the gold market and Ford reintroduced it a few years later, the Federal Reserve Bank, which is a private bank, all banks are now private, okay? There are very few public banks around. Those Federal Reserve banks have been printing huge quantities of money. The question is why? Why would you threaten the collapsing of the economy when the entire system depends upon it? And this is what I have found out. For the first time in history, and I need you people to shut up and listen, they are going to take gold and they're going to back all of their fiction money with. So, what does that mean? It means that if they have 1 pound of gold and they instantly say that we are going to back that 1 pound of gold with the fictional notes which carry no value whatsoever, hence they are subject to inflation, devaluation, overvaluation, and so on and so forth. That currency, because they are backing that fiat currency with gold, will cause the gold market to increase. The insiders are no longer talking about whether that's going to happen or not. It is imminent. What they are talking about, whether the price of gold overnight is going to go up by 5%, 10%, or several 100%. In other words, if you have invested $1,000, 1,000 pounds in gold, they are saying it will go up in value by 10,000 in a matter of months. The Federal Reserve, under the Basel rule, has been given permission to collect gold. Traditionally, banks were not allowed to hold gold, but they've been buying huge quantities of it because they're about to back their fiat currency with gold. It has never happened in the history of mankind. So let me repeat it again. This has never happened in the history of mankind. Now, I am teaching this to my mentees this Sunday, which is only in a few days' time. So if you want to join me, you are welcome to do so. In about 3 weeks to 4 weeks' time, I will also be holding a special webinar on how to invest in gold as well as the stocks and shares, because the stocks and shares that back up some of the mining companies are going to go up in value 10, 20, 15 times greater than the value of gold itself. Now, there are hundreds, if not thousands, of mining operations out there which produce no gold. There are only a few that will have any gold in it, as it were. Let's recap. Traditionally, you have to have the gold to print the money. That was removed in 1933 and reintroduced, and then it was removed again in 1971 by Tricky Dicky, as you guys know, and then reintroduced under President Ford. Full stop. The Federal Reserve has been given permission, as well as all other central banks under the Basel Agreement, to hold stocks of gold without being penalized. Traditionally, they were not allowed to hold gold because gold is a fact, and the fictional banks were only allowed to touch fictional money, fiat currency. Since they've been accumulating gold, every single country in the world, including the BRIC Corporation, has been accumulating gold because they are going to, for the first time in history, back their fiat currency, which is empty currencies, empty promissory notes, with real money, which is gold. When that happens, the unit of price of gold is going to go up at a phenomenal state. And I am letting you folks know, as my students, that you can act on it or do nothing about it. But I am telling you that the world's economy is going to be reset, and it is imminent. Do something about it. You can join me in the mentee program, or I will be holding a special webinar on the subject of how to deal in gold, how it's going to affect the markets, and also the shares that deal with the mining companies, because the mining companies' stocks and shares will go up. But 99% of the mining operations, the mining companies, have no gold. The gold is only on paper. It's just publicity. I will be teaching my students how to get into this market. And in a few weeks' time, I'll be teaching the general public. My students, which is you folks, and my mentees have first priority, first served basis. The general public will only have second place. So if you want to get in, you're going to have to tell me instantly, and I will price it for you as well. And also, you are allowed to share this video with trusted friends and families so they don't get left out. The average human being on this planet, the average working class person, has always been disabled. And when they get to hear about this phenomenal increase in gold prices and mining operations, it's too late because the knowledge is withheld. I will give you a clue. You have heard Donald Trump come out and simply say, well, the impeachment was nothing more than a hoax, ladies and gentlemen. What is it that they were hoaxing you about? There is that wall that's so-called being built, which is a hoax between Mexico and the US. That's a lie, because what they were hiding from the general public is that the Canadian-Mexican-US trade treaty under the Trade Winds Treaty has already taken place, and there is no borders. They're being smashed. That's why in the news they said the trade winds blew the wall down, separating from Mexico into US. That's how these symbolic languages take place. If you want in, let me know by emailing me. For those people that procrastinate, you will not make this journey, and therefore you should simply unsubscribe to my channel, come off my email list, because you are not going to do anything. So shut up, do your searches, and do something about it.